What if I told you that the biggest mistake you made in your life wasn't a specific decision or a wrong choice, but the way you learned to exist within reality itself? Because everything you believe to be solid, fixed, and unchangeable is not exactly as it seems. And if you stay with me until the end of this video, you'll understand why some people seem to have the universe working in their favor, while others spend their entire lives fighting against an invisible force that never gives in. Nikola Tesla said something that almost no one took seriously enough. If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. This wasn't poetry or metaphor. It was a warning. You are not a physical being living in a physical universe. You are a vibrational being living in a vibrational universe. Your body is just the densest part of something much greater. What you really are is a field of energy in constant transmission. At this very moment, without realizing it, you are sending signals to the universe, not through words or requests, but through your internal state. And here is the part that changes everything. The universe does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you emit. You are both transmitter and receiver at the same time. Every recurring thought, every sustained emotion, every sensation you have normalized composes a frequency, and that frequency works like a magnet. What is in harmony with it moves closer. What is not simply cannot remain. That's why some people seem to attract opportunities, connections, money, and solutions almost effortlessly, while others, even working hard, studying, and trying everything, always seem to hit the same invisible ceiling. It's not luck. It's not destiny. It's vibrational coherence. If your energetic field radiates scarcity, urgency, fear, or frustration, physical reality merely reflects that. If it radiates stability, clarity, abundance, and direction, reality responds in the same language. And this is where most people get lost, because they try to change the external world, actions, strategies, effort, without altering the internal frequency that is generating everything. It's like trying to change the reflection in the mirror without moving your own body. Quantum physics has already made this clear. Everything is energy in motion. What you call solid matter is simply energy vibrating at a specific frequency. Your body, your home, your money, your circumstances, everything vibrates, even your thoughts. Thinking is not abstract. Thinking is generating energetic activity. Each thought creates an oscillation, and when similar thoughts repeat, they become a dominant pattern. That pattern moves from the conscious mind to the subconscious, from the subconscious to the emotional body, from the emotional body to the energetic field, and from the field to reality. That's why life never changes through willpower alone, because willpower operates on the surface, while dominant vibration operates at the foundation. You may have already felt this. Moments when everything flows, people appear, ideas emerge, things simply fall into place. And other moments when nothing works, no matter how hard you try. These moments are not random, they are states. And here comes a simple scientific principle that is brutally ignored: resonance. Two systems vibrating at the same frequency tend to synchronize. That's why a tuning fork can make another vibrate at a distance, why emotional states are contagious, why environments have an atmosphere, and why your personal reality responds to your internal field. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are repeatedly. And here comes the question that changes everything. If this is true, why do so many people visualize, affirm, try to manifest, and nothing happens? The answer is uncomfortable but liberating. Because they are trying to create an extraordinary reality from an incompatible internal state. They visualize wealth while feeling anxious. Think about success while feeling urgency. Imagine abundance while feeling lack. The universe does not respond to the image. It responds to the state behind the image. And if you haven't understood this yet, great, because the rest of this video exists precisely to correct this silent mistake that keeps most people trapped in the same cycle. In the next section, I'll show you why the correct feeling is neither euphoria nor excitement, and why ordinary decisions, not big dreams, are the real key to changing reality. And by the end of the video, all of this closes into a simple, almost obvious point that, once seen, cannot be ignored. If it's now clear that reality responds to internal state rather than conscious desire, then an even subtler mistake emerges. One that almost no one notices, but that defines who truly changes their life and who spends years merely trying. Most people believe they need to feel intense emotions to manifest something different, as if they must generate euphoria, exaggerated enthusiasm, or constant excitement. They think the stronger the emotion, the faster reality changes. But this is exactly the opposite of what happens. Intense and unstable emotions do not create coherence. They create noise. The universe does not respond to emotional intensity. It responds to the stability of the state. Euphoria is a peak, and peaks are not sustainable. Anything born from an emotional peak tends to disappear when the peak falls. That's why so many people get excited about an idea, a project, or a visualization, feel something strong for a few days, and then return to the exact same point. The field never stabilized. The state never became normal. Here is the key that completely changes how all of this is applied. The vibration that manifests is not the vibration of the extraordinary, but the vibration of the familiar. What becomes normal to your nervous system, your body, and your mind begins to be accepted as possible, then probable, and finally inevitable. The problem is that most people try to imagine a grand future from a body still conditioned to scarcity, urgency, and survival. The body enters conflict. The mind becomes anxious. The field fragments. There is no coherence. That's why visualizing mansions, cars, or huge bank balances rarely works. Not because these things are impossible, but because they are not part of your internal daily experience. They are still perceived as distant, unlikely, outside your current identity, and the universe does not respond to who you want to be. It responds to who you are already being internally. The real work is not imagining extraordinary scenes, but training your internal system to operate from ordinary decisions that belong to a different reality than the one you live in today. A person who lives in scarcity makes different decisions than someone who lives in abundance, even when external situations appear similar. The difference is not in the scenario. It's in the state from which the decision is made. A decision made from fear carries one energetic signature. A decision made from clarity carries another. A decision made from urgency carries a completely different one. And it is this signature that the field recognizes. That's why two people can have the exact same opportunity in their hands and achieve completely opposite results. One is vibrating survival. The other is vibrating stability. One is trying to prove something. The other is simply responding to what makes sense. Reality does not respond to the action itself, but to the state that generated the action. And this is a point almost no one teaches. When you understand this, the exercise changes completely. It's no longer about getting excited about a distant future, but first entering a state of presence. Presence is not superficial relaxation. It is internal silence. It's the moment when the body exits threat mode, the mind slows down, and the field becomes more stable. From this state, you don't imagine something extraordinary. You access the feeling of what it would be like to live that reality as something normal. Not as a special event, but as routine. Not as an achievement, but as identity. The exercise does not end in excitement. It ends in familiarity. It ends with the feeling of, this makes sense. This is natural. This fits me. When you close the exercise in that state, the field registers coherence. And coherence is what creates real attraction. Not force, not effort, not empty repetition. That's exactly why people who truly change their lives appear calm even in the face of big results. They are not in shock with their own reality, because internally it was already familiar before manifesting externally. Reality simply caught up to the internal state that already existed, and maybe now you're beginning to realize something important. Changing vibration is not about trying to feel something you've never felt before. It's about removing the noise that prevents you from sustaining a more stable state. It's not about creating a character. It's about allowing a more coherent state to become dominant, and that changes everything. In the next part, I'll show you how this principle applies practically to everyday life, especially when the goal involves money, business, and real growth, and why 90% of people break exactly at the moment they begin to earn more than they're used to. That's where the field enters conflict, and that's where almost everyone returns to the starting point without understanding why. There is a specific moment when almost everyone fails, and it's not at the beginning, not from lack of knowledge, and not from lack of opportunity. The breakdown happens when reality starts responding, when money begins to come in, results appear, and what was once just an idea starts becoming concrete. That's when the field enters conflict. If what I'm saying makes sense to you, and you feel ready to deepen this experience, I've left a more complete material in the pinned comment. You don't need to look at it now. Just remember it when the time feels right. Because despite the conscious desire for growth, most people's internal systems are not calibrated to sustain expansion. They are calibrated to survive. The human body learns patterns of safety throughout life. It associates stability not with what is better, but with what is familiar. For someone who has spent years operating with little money, tight margins, and fear of loss, earning more is not automatically interpreted as something positive. At a deep level, rapid growth is perceived as risk. More money means more responsibility, more exposure, more decisions, more chances to fail. And the nervous system reacts to this just like it would to any threat. It tries to restore the known pattern. That's why so many people sabotage their own growth without realizing it. They begin delaying important decisions, become excessively cautious, spend impulsively, create unnecessary conflicts, or simply lose focus. None of this is conscious. It's the field trying to return to the state it recognizes as safe. It's not lack of ability, it's lack of internal coherence to sustain the new level. When we talk about money and business, this becomes even more evident. Money comes in quickly, opportunities appear in sequence, decisions must be made with clarity and speed. And that's exactly where the internal pattern is tested. A mind trained in scarcity tries to control everything. A mind trained in coherence observes, decides, and executes without drama. The difference between those who grow sustainably and those who collapse is not strategy, but operational identity. People who sustain high financial levels make decisions that seem ordinary, almost boring. There is no euphoria, no desperation, no need to prove anything. They don't feel special for making money, nor threatened by losing it. For them, money is flow, not identity. This is where real internal state training comes in. It's not about visualizing huge figures, but about seeing yourself making calm decisions in larger contexts, negotiating high values with the same calm you once had negotiating small ones, rejecting bad opportunities without fear of missing out, investing with clarity, not anxiety, delegating without guilt, saying no when necessary. These are the real scenarios that shape the field. When you begin practicing this type of internal experience, something shifts quietly. Your body starts recognizing that state as possible, then comfortable, then natural. And when something becomes natural, it stops generating resistance. The field aligns. External decisions begin to flow with less effort because there is no internal conflict. That's why truly successful people appear emotionally stable in environments that would send others into panic. It's not coldness, it's familiarity. The internal state was trained before reality demanded it. They are not reacting to the moment. They are operating from an already consolidated pattern. And here is an important point. that almost no one understands. Feeling euphoria when something happens is not a problem. Celebrating, enjoying, and vibrating with the moment is part of the human experience. The problem is depending on euphoria to sustain this state. What maintains reality is not excitement, it is normalization. Euphoria comes and goes, and that's fine. What remains is the internal pattern. When you understand this, the process stops being mystical and becomes practical. You are not trying to convince the universe of anything. You are training your internal system to operate at a different level. Reality responds because there is no longer a contradiction between who you are inside and what you are living outside. In the next part, we'll close this cycle by showing how to turn all of this into a simple, daily, applicable method, without complex rituals, without emotional excess, and without fantasy. A process that trains coherence, presence, and identity, and explains why small, consistent practices change reality more than big, sporadic visualizations. From the moment you understand that the problem was never lack of desire, visualization, or effort, but lack of internal coherence, the process changes completely. You stop trying to attract something and start training the state from which it becomes inevitable. And this doesn't require hours of practice, rituals, or exaggerated emotion. It requires precision. The method always begins the same way: presence. Before any image, before any thought about the future, you need to exit automatic mode. Presence here is not deep meditation or absolute silence. It's simply noticing that you are here now, in your body, breathing, without trying to change anything. This step is fundamental because while you are reacting to the day, you are operating from old patterns. Presence interrupts the pattern. From this more neutral state, you don't imagine an extraordinary scenario. You don't visualize mansions, cars, or huge numbers. That activates fantasy and creates distance. The focus is different. You access the internal feeling of normality at a higher level of operation. You don't ask, how amazing would it be? But, how would I feel making bigger decisions as something normal? If images arise, they are secondary. The center is the state. You see yourself handling bigger problems calmly, responding to important messages without anxiety, analyzing data without emotional urgency, saying no without guilt, making financial decisions with clarity, not fear. All of this happens without excitement, without frustration, without tension, simply as something natural. This detail changes everything. The training ends exactly where most people fail. You don't try to leave high. You end the practice feeling familiarity, as if this were already known, as if this state had already been lived before. The body learns through repetition and emotional association. When you finish calm, the system understands that this is safe. And when something is safe, it allows it to repeat in reality. This process takes only a few minutes, but it must be consistent not because the universe demands repetition, but because the nervous system learns through frequency. Little, daily, and precise is infinitely more effective than a lot, intense, and sporadic. You are not trying to convince anything. You are training. Throughout the day, the focus shifts to observing decisions, not emotions. Emotions come and go. Decisions shape identity. Whenever a choice arises, small or large, you silently ask, does this come from scarcity or coherence? From fear or clarity? No judgment is needed. Simply noticing already adjusts the field. Over time, something interesting happens. You begin to act differently without conscious effort, not because you're trying to be someone, but because that state has become familiar. Reality responds not as a reward, but as a reflection. Flow improves. Opportunities organize themselves. Mistakes decrease, not by magic, but because there is no longer internal conflict sabotaging the process. This is the point that separates those who live cycles of ups and downs from those who build continuous growth. It's not forced positivity. It's not denying difficulties. It's operating from an internal state that does not collapse in the face of expansion. That's what sustains millions, not the excitement of gaining, but the calm of sustaining. When this consolidates, you understand something fundamental. You don't change reality by trying to control it. You change reality when you change the internal place from which your decisions are born. Everything else is consequence. And that's exactly why the process seems too simple to those still searching for something extraordinary, because true change was never about creating something uncommon, but about making common what once seemed distant. Now you know that everything in the universe is energy, that everything vibrates, and that nothing is at rest. You know that your thoughts and feelings are not just internal states, but active vibrations emitting constant signals to the universe. You know that you attract what is in harmony with your dominant vibration, and that if you want to experience something different in your life, you must change the signal you are transmitting. You've seen that working harder is not enough if the vibration doesn't change, because the results will remain the same. You also understand that visualization, emotions, belief, and trust in the process are not abstract concepts, but real mechanisms that influence how energy organizes itself in your experience. When your thoughts and feelings are aligned with what you desire, the gap between the internal world and the external world closes, and manifestation happens naturally. Everything happens first within, and what you see outside is merely a reflection of that internal state. By setting clear intentions, elevating your vibration through visualization and emotion, believing in the process, and finally letting go to allow the universe to respond, you enter coherence with what you wish to attract. When this coherence exists, things flow, opportunities arise, and reality begins to reflect this new frequency. If this content was useful to you, remember that knowledge only becomes experience when it is applied consistently. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for consciously elevating your vibration. If this message truly resonated with you, if you felt that quiet inner shift, that sense that your mind is ready for something greater, I left a resource in the pinned comment that goes deeper into this process. I only recommend it for those who feel genuinely ready to accelerate their results, but follow it in your own time. If it calls to you, you'll find it there. Before you move on, one important thing. Everything you heard here only works when your internal state is stable. In the previous video, I explained the foundation behind this, how vibration and state shape results before anything external changes. Watch it calmly when you're ready. When that base is clear, this stops being theory and starts being lived.